All right, what's up? Tim Sykes here with Michael Good, Millionaire Mentors, here in, what is this island? St. Martin. And we are here answering your questions because I asked you guys. So, question for Michael Good. How do you get over the fear and anxiety in trading? I don't know why I couldn't pronounce that.
So first I should mention that a lot of people don't have that problem, and that's probably a worse problem to have if you don't have the fear and anxiety, because then you trade big, you take big bets, and then you lose a bunch of money, and then a week after starting you're down 60%, and then you email Mark Crook and say, "What's wrong? Help me!" And that's bad. But if you suffer from anxiety and fear, first I do recommend taking. Well, if you've reached a point where you're trading profitably.
I thought you were going to say take a Xanax or something.
No, I'm saying taking antidepressant drugs.
Oh my God.
Will actually
help
you improve
He's
your
kidding.
trading.
He's kidding.
I am not kidding whatsoever.
Oh my God. Only consult a medical professional. We are not medical professionals. This is going out to everybody, dude. Like, you can't perform like medical advice.
I'm just saying, if it's really crippling anxiety, then maybe you have a medical psychological
All
issue.
right,
But the main thing I'm going to say is, first, the big question is, are you trading consistently profitably? If the answer is no, then you're right to be afraid, because you're going to be losing your money. And you should be trading very, very small with real money. I mean, once you understand the basic principles of trading and the strategy, you need to trade with real money, because trading with paper trading, it's not the same. You don't have the emotions. But trade with tiny position sizes. I mean, a $300, $500 position size. And once you become consistently profitable, excluding commissions, because when you're trading that small, commissions are going to eat up all profit. But once you become consistently profitable, then you just slowly increase your position size. And that way, there's less fear when it's less money, and then gradually, hopefully, you can get up to a point where it's economically meaningful profits, and you're okay with that. And you can look at your record and say, hey, I consistently make money, even if I've lost a few times in a row. If I just keep doing things right, I'm going to make money again, so then it's easier to get back and keep doing it.
Good answer. Two questions that are similar from a user named Quantum, and then also one of my favorite students, Morris. Quantum is under the PDT rule, and so he has to trade overnight. So what's the best overnight play? And Morris says, similarly, how do you filter out all the noise? What's like the best 2 to 3 patterns that you see working right now?
Well, for dealing with the pattern day trader rule, first, if you have enough money to have a couple accounts, then open a couple different accounts so you can go from 3 day trades in a week to 6 day trades in a week. And if you're Canadian, God bless you, open an Interactive Brokers account, and they don't enforce the pattern day trader rule for you. But otherwise, I mean, one thing that I think consistently works for overnight trades would be buying breakouts on OTC stocks. And strong OTC stocks tend to gap up consistently, and I find that they gap more consistently than NASDAQ stocks do. And for Morris's question, the top 2 to 3 strategies, really, gosh, I mean, it's changing for me all the time. I probably have 10 to 12 somewhat different things I do, but airplane.
The plane!
We'll wait till that passes. Okay.
Tim Rutani, actually, you don't know, I've been asking him questions too. We did a whole interview, which I'll post soon. But he also specifically likes gap up plays and breakout plays on OTCs. They're more reliable.
Yes, I agree
in that
with
sense.
him. So, sort of my favorite strategies right now, really. Oh gosh, I've been. I can't even say. I've been doing a lot of stuff with bankrupt stocks and with upcoming catalysts and
shorting BTUUQ.
Yes, for example, and So I mean, it was a really hard borrow. Yeah, it's not a great. It's not an opportunity available to everyone, but they just had this confirmation hearing. It was 95% of the bondholders voted in favor of this bankruptcy plan, and this bankruptcy plan calls for completely giving Zippo to shareholders. In about 2 weeks or so, the stock will be halted, and then it will go to zero. Now, the borrow rate on this at Interactive Brokers is insane. It's 180% APR. So I'm not going to hold all the way through that, but over the next 2 weeks, the stock should drop 70% easily.
And the lesson from this is not necessarily just the money that Michael Good will probably make, but more about looking for those inefficiencies where an upcoming catalyst is going to reset the stock price, and people who have not researched it are going to be very surprised.
Yes.
And people who have researched it and been meticulous, they will collect very high odds profits. Even if it's not huge profits, it's high probability.
Right.
And that's the way that we want you to start looking at the market, in terms of not necessarily like always making the biggest amount, but just what is a good setup where, you know, if you do the right research and enough research, the odds can be in your favor.
Yeah, and I mean, dry ships, DRYS is another thing like that. I made some money. I didn't make a lot of money. I made a few $1,000s shorting it.
That is a lot of money for some people.
And it was a very high odds play because we knew that they had this toxic financing. So literally over a period of a few weeks, they were 15 to 20% of the volume every day was new shares coming out and dilution. And it's just this ugly thing. They literally had, what was it, 1,000 or 10,000% dilution in 4 months. So the stock had pretty much nowhere to go but down. And I'm sad that I wasn't short it big in December. But of course now that's all over until the next toxic financing is announced. But when they announce another toxic financing, I'll short it again and it will go down again.
Beautiful. All right, 2 questions from Fish Trader. First, does Sykes really send out all those tweets? The answer is yes, I do. And I spend my life answering questions and planning social media and doing video lessons and trying to teach. And I'm kind of a control freak. We tried to have other people do it, but they weren't as good, and I took over. They only lasted like a day because I'm seriously a control freak.
Yes.
Secondly, for Good and Gratani's sleeping right now, but Good can answer. For those on limited budgets, what would be the top 3 Sykes educational resources?
Okay. If you're on a very limited budget, subscribe to Penny Stocking Silver for a month, and then just watch every single one of his damn video lessons.
4,500 plus, but they're only 5 minutes long each, so it's a little over 300 hours.
Yeah, I mean, that's doable. And I mean, sure, Tim wants you to buy all his products, but yeah, you can watch them all in a month or two, and then you don't have to keep giving him that same amount of money.
You learn a lot. For those on more budgets, can you talk about the challenge and why, frankly, I think the challenge is the best?
Well, the challenge is good, obviously.
All of my Millionaire students have come from the challenge, not coincidentally.
Obviously, you need to have more money. It costs more, and then you need to have some money to trade with afterwards. But the good thing about the challenge is you're getting a few webinars a week from
2 to
different
4
people. Sykes, Mark Crook is doing one every week, and then Tim Gratani and me and Tim Bowen do some every so often. I'm once a month. I don't know what their exact schedules are.
Yeah.
And then you get access to Crook and the challenge chat room. There's some good traders in there. You can ask Tim Gratani his opinion. Heck, if you're real cheap, and even if you're just in the Timler's chat, you can ask my opinion on things, but you'll get a lot closer attention and useful replies to things if you're in the chat and challenge. I mean, you can make your trades and send them off to Mark and say, hey, Mark, take a look at the trades I've made. Tell me what I'm doing right. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. And a lot of people find that really useful because it's like, I mean, you don't know what you're doing right and you're doing wrong, and if you're just losing money, you think you know what you're doing. It helps to have someone else look at it and say, okay, well, it looks like you're always chasing these breakouts. I mean, the stock spikes 20 cents and then you buy because it broke out, but it already just spiked 20 cents and then it drops 10 cents and then you sell at a loss, and that's a bad thing. So yeah, I mean, it's getting that kind of feedback is really useful to people.
Yeah, and I should mention, aside from the new live webinars every week, you also have access challenge students do to all archive webinars. And Michael
Which
Good has
goes
done
back to
hundreds.
What, 2011?
Yeah, you've done hundreds of webinars. Ah, the plane, the plane! I have to say it every time.
Yeah.
Hundreds of archive webinars from Michael Good. Tim Grattani has done, I think, 50 archive webinars, and they're like 2 to 3 hours, like live trading ones. Really good. And I know many of you guys don't want to study the past, but frankly, you learn from the past to better prepare for the future. So we are glorified history teachers. That's all we are.
Yeah, that really
And
is
we've
all it
used
is.
history to frankly become rich, because history is fun and
Yes.
helpful. It's fundamental. All right, one more question. Let's see. One last question. Oh, there's so many, and I'm sorry we can't get to all of you guys. I'll actually answer all of your questions in a follow-up Q&A video for my challenge students, as I like to do. How did you transition from regular life to being a full-time trader, and did you have to make any sacrifices?
For me, it was easy because I didn't have a real job. When I first found trading, and I was in grad school and studying to be a psychologist, and I realized about a year, 2 years into that I didn't love it enough to really do it the rest of my life and work my ass off 60 hours a week for the next decade so I could get tenure as a researcher and professor. So then I decided to do something else, and I started trading successfully. So I said, okay, I'm going to do this. And actually, at the beginning, I was also running a startup business that a friend had started, and but I quit that after 8 months because I wasn't making much money doing that, and I was making a ton of money trading. But really, I want to say the best thing that helped me is I did not have a lot of expenses. And my wife, she had just gotten her master's in chemistry. She was working at a full-time job. Her salary was paying all our bills. That allowed me to take a lot of risk. So I could make money or lose money. It didn't matter. We didn't need that money to pay the bills. And that allowed me to take a couple years to become consistently profitable.
And Tim Grattani, again, when I post this video, you will be surprised that his answers are so similar, frankly, because I think they're right, where the money that you use for trading is not necessarily money that you should be using for, living expenses, because then it forces you to take trades that you don't want, that you shouldn't be in, because you're trying to I got to make money, I got to pay the rent, and you take bad trades. And most traders lose because you're in the wrong trades. You're not having the patience to actually hold the whole time like you should, where you just say hold up, just stay in cash. Sometimes the best trade is no trade at all. And I know it's tough when you have money in your account and you see all these stocks moving, but a lot of the time the odds aren't good enough either way, long or short. And a lot of you guys don't seem to get that. Like if I'm not, if I warn about a stock, I say don't short the stock, and you're like, oh, does that mean I should buy it? No, there's a whole nother position where it's just there's no good play right now. And so I think a lot of you guys need more patience. And if you are in a trade, and if you do open an account, understand, you can be wrong in any trade. We've been on this yacht. I lost $4,000 straight up, a little over $4,000, yesterday, and that sucked. The last time I was on a yacht like this, I made $70,000. So my gains are still bigger than my losses, but at the same time, no trade is guaranteed. And if I needed that money for rent or for food, I would be homeless and very hungry next month. So I don't. I have enough in savings. But you can never count on any one trade. No matter how much research, no matter how good the setup is, we win. How much? What do you win, Michael Good? What's your winning percentage?
It varies because I'll take a...
You have different strategies.
Yeah, and I'll take a decent sized position and then I'll trade around that. So it's probably really around 60%. But I also take a lot of trades where it's a very not that much higher winning percent than 50%. But when I lose, I'll lose a few cents a share, and when I win, I'll win 15 cents a share.
And that's the key. It's tough to cut losses, but as you'll see in this awesome Tim Grattani video that I can't stop talking about, You know, you have to learn to cut losses, and there is such a thing as good losses. I know that sounds weird. I know that's like the mentality of losers, like, oh, this is a good loss. Yeah, you're a loser. Like, of course it's a good loss for you because you're good at it because you're a loser. But in reality, all of my top millionaire students and every single successful trader that I know has learned to take losses. They've learned to accept small defeats and take them and cut them off so that a small loss cannot turn into a big disaster. I see too many newbies where even if they end up being right, you know, they risk disaster, and you cannot do that. Like, you cannot say, oh, I'm going to try and make, you know, $20,000, but they're down unrealized like 50 or 80,000, and they're like, well, I have the confidence to hold. And then sometimes it does come back and they make 10 or 15,000, and, you know, newbies are like all obsessed, like, oh, this is amazing. How'd you know you were going to be right? It doesn't matter what eventually happens. You play with fire enough times, eventually you're going to get burned. Here's Tim Grattani waking up from his nap with his beautiful wife. We're answering Q&A.
Awesome.
You want to do a quick Q&A?
Have a seat in my lap.
Sit over here. Don't sit in his lap.
Michael Claus. All I want for Christmas.
All right. One question for Tim Grattani. You guys asked. Let's see. How does it feel? This is from Noel Gomez. How does it feel? They're playing. Every time there's a plane, I have to say that. How does it feel to be millionaires? How did you feel at first when you weren't a millionaire, and how is the difference now? Thank you, Noel, for that question.
Honestly, I can't say my perspective has changed much, like from, you know, hitting 900,000 to a million or anything like that.
What about from 1,500 to a million? Has your perspective changed?
The real reward, I guess, and like it felt really good to get good at it and become successful and feel really confident that, like, you know, the vast majority of weeks or months I know I could be profitable and support myself that way. But, you know, I think I said it in the CNN interview, when I actually hit a million, it was just another trade. And that's kind of the beauty of it.
Michael, good? How's your life changed? You're still wearing the same hats.
Yeah, well, this is a great hat. I got it in Philadelphia. Thank you, American Airlines, for leaving me there for the night. And anyway, my life hasn't changed that much. I mean, it just sort of gradually gets better. It's like I watch my net worth go up. It's like, my net worth is up another couple 100,000 this year. Whatever.
You sound like such a cocky millionaire. Oh, my net worth is up a few hundred grand. You understand, most of these people asking questions have like $2,000, $5,000 to their name. You just made more on this yacht than they have in their life.
Yeah, I mean, it's just gradually things get better, and then you realize you have money to do things. And like a couple years ago, just on a whim, I bought a house, and then I was thinking of moving into it. I got a good deal, but then I just flipped it. And then the guy who was renting the house from me, really good guy, said, hey, we actually have this friend that got foreclosed on, and we're going to buy her house from her. So would you consider buying that and flipping it to me? I said, okay, sure, what the fuck? And I did that.
Whoa, there's kids watching.
Okay, what the hell? And I did that and sold that to them on a land contract because they weren't a good credit. But anyway, so that's like, I have $250,000 tied up in that.
Nice.
And whatever. I get my interest. I get paid. And then just last summer, I like speculating in real estate. And then I saw this nice little vacation property, 40 acres. That's about 12 hectares for you Europeans, or anyone who's not American. And a nice little house, and it's like really cheap. I said, okay, sure, I'll buy it. $65,000, and okay, now I have a vacation house, and cool. I can go hunting up there and kill things.
Don't kill things. All right. Question from NMAC says, how many total hours of study did it take before you became consistently profitable? And there was a similar question I saw from JMarks1497. When did it finally click? Click. Presto, I'm a millionaire. Click. Just like that. I'm kidding. It doesn't work like that.
Total hours of study, I have no idea. I mean,
you lost track.
It took me 6 months of trading, and that quick moment, you know, I think the study that helped me the most was my losses, learning from those, you know, studying my own results. You can try to mimic somebody else all day, but you're not really going to be successful and consistent until you figure out who you are as a trader and you can make your own strategies.
Michael?
It took a few years. I think the thing that helped me, for the first couple of years, I was wildly inconsistent. I was very profitable, but I was wildly inconsistent. I'd be up $30,000 one month and down $60,000 the next month. And what really helped me was when I decided to first track all my trades and track them by different strategies and find out exactly what I did well, what I did poorly. And then the first thing I did, I just stopped making the trades I did poorly, and I concentrated on what I did well, and then gradually I learned other strategies and added those to the mix. So yeah.
Cool. Question from V Vargas. Was there ever a time where you kept losing money and almost gave up? And if so, what made you to keep on trading?
I'll start with that. I'm naturally a pessimistic person, despite anything that Tim Sykes says. And seriously, I mean, I'll go through a slump and not make very much money for a month or so, and feel like, oh my gosh, this is my time is coming. I can't do this anymore. Really, anytime I suffer through a streak of losing, I just concentrate on the strategies I do best. I trade a bit smaller for a while, and then I start winning again. I mean, first you have to reach the point where you are consistently profitable, and you know that you can be that. But everyone is going to go through losing streaks where you lose a bunch of money for a couple weeks or even a couple months in a row. But you just need to keep at it. And also, I mean, really, it helps to have trading strategies where you know it's going to keep working. If it's something like it's a black box quant thing, and you're saying, okay, well, I know that 7 times out of 10, when soybeans trade up, that oil trades down, and West Texas Intermediate goes sideways, and none of that makes any sense. But if it's something like that, and you're just doing it because of past correlations, you may not know if that's going to stop working in the future. So I like to trade things where I know it's going to keep working, at least to some extent in the future, like trading based on greed and stupidity. I trade against really, really stupid people and really naive people, and I know people are going to be stupid, naive, and greedy in the future. So I just need to find where they're going to trade and trade against them.
Good stuff.
2 times stand out in my mind. The first time I really struggled was when I blew up my original $1,500. There were 0 thoughts of quitting then. At that point, it was like, well, I'm making these mistakes. I know what I'm doing wrong, and I want to fix it. The second time would have been in 2015 when I went through my slump. I took like $300,000 plus losses in a 12-month period, and that was a lot tougher for me because at that point I felt like, you know, I was more of a veteran trader, and why can't I learn from my mistakes? Why do I keep doing this over and over? And that was the first time I ever had the like,
guys,
maybe I should.
How you doing? Is there a chance I can go to your room quickly and just check on that porthole? Is that okay?
Yep.
Thank
Go
you
for
very
it.
much.
Keep going.
Yeah, that was the first time I ever had the thought, maybe, you know, I don't want to keep doing this. But, you know, I kept going because that was kind of loser talk. Like, I was making excuses like, oh, I can't control my emotions. But, you know, I needed to step up and take responsibility. And it doesn't matter what your excuse is, like, you've got to find a way to do better. If you're just an excuse maker and you try to say like, oh, you know, I'm losing on my longs because those damn short sellers keep attacking, like, you'll never succeed. You've got to take responsibility for your actions and just push through them. Make yourself better.
Great answer. This is a question for all 3 of us from Flockstock. Thank you, Eric, for the question. He says, you know, with all these Juraris and Caribbean vacations and stuff, how do you stay composed and keep, you know, focused? I got to answer that first because I'm responsible for the hashtag Jurari and this Caribbean vacation. And, you know, this stuff is nice, but at the same time, I think we've all agreed that yachting isn't necessarily for us. And it looks nice and it's fun to try out, but at the same time, you have to focus on what really matters. You know, I just surprised both of these guys with their own schools. We'll announce that soon publicly. You guys get the first kind of take right here. But it's not about the material things. I was actually talking about this. Like, all my top students, like, they're all very humble. And despite the stuff that I, you know, basically promote and the lifestyle I promote online, I'm kind of a humble guy too. Like, I don't even care about a lot of this stuff, but I understand what motivates traders. So I don't want you guys to get the wrong idea. Like, oh, I need to make enough money to have a yacht like this. Like, this yacht kind of sucks. And I don't mean to be ungrateful, but you know, we're all kind of feeling sick and we're tired and we're excited to get off this yacht. So don't be fooled by the flashy image. You know, my Lamborghini is very uncomfortable. Every now and then I really miss my original Jeep Grand Cherokee. But it's fun, you know? So I think you can have fun, and money allows you to have fun, but you never really lose your values, you know, unless you're like a Disney star, like a musician, and you've never had any money and then it all happens so fast. With trading, you have to keep the money in your account to trade with. You know, if you don't have that, then frankly, you're going to be trading less size. And if you have a successful strategy or a successful pattern, you don't want to trade less size, you want to maximize it. So I didn't have a Lamborghini for like the first, you know, decade that I was a millionaire. It wasn't like overnight. And these guys, you know, while Michael Good is playing, you know, let's buy this house today, and Tim Grattani's moving to the Caribbean, I mean, they're still really humble guys. Do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say I'm like the opposite of a material person. Like, I really don't splurge. It's not me.
Why do you have a $500 t-shirt on then? I'm just kidding. It's like $5. It's like $5.
Yeah, but I mean that's definitely part of what helped me succeed, helped me grow my account, because I didn't hit some profit number and say like, oh, let's go pop bottles. Like I saved that money, I kept that in my accounts. But I mean, as far as like taking the trips and stuff, I mean, it's good to get away. It's good to take vacations. Trading is very mentally tiring. So I mean, you've got to give yourself a break. So you don't have to be focused, you know, 365 days a year, or you're going to burn out real fast.
I would like to add to that. I agree with that. Even though this yacht, you can see how rocky it is, and this is like clear weather. But I do encourage you guys to take some breaks, and vacations help, and traveling in different time zones helps, and it's also fun.
For me, I have to say, well, first, you know, a $5 million yacht, I would...
This is a $12 million yacht.
$12 million yacht, whatever.
You don't even know the difference.
I don't, but yeah, a $20,000 hovel was so much better because, you know, it's not constantly rocking, and then I'm not sick and feeling like I'm going to fall over. But for me, I mean, I'm really obsessed with the game, and that's what it is, and you can't become successful unless you really are obsessed with the game and playing to win, not for the money. I think it's that way with most anything, any sort of thing that you can get good at. Yeah, and
The plane.
the plane.
You have to say it. Say it to plane like.
The plane.
You got to say it too.
The plane.
The plane. And that's what this is. You know, the challenge is not about how much money you can make. It's how you can control your emotions, because trading, a lot of it is you versus you. You know, it's a discipline thing. And then also, you know, how well can you really succeed in the market and always adapt. You know, even when you make it, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to make it in the future. You know, how many patterns have you guys, you think that you've made money, you know, you've been trading each a few years. How many patterns have you seen come and gone that have worked really well for, you know, a few weeks or a few months or maybe even a few years, but they disappear?
I can think of a few off the top of my head.
So
that I used to use a lot that I don't anymore.
So you constantly have to adapt. So even if, you know, let's say he made $1 million a few years ago, that doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to make $1 million next year. And he just, you know, as you'll see in this amazing video that I keep teasing with him, we've already filmed it, but I'll post it soon. You know, you have to adapt, and he adapted to NASDAQs. How many patterns have you seen?
Over a dozen. I mean, over a dozen. Some of my
in
best
less
trading.
than like 5 or 6 years.
No, I've been doing this for 8 years, Tim.
I don't know. I have no sense of time anymore.
9 years now, actually.
Okay.
But yeah, some of my best trading strategies, that there were opportunities then there weren't, and
you have to adapt, or you perish like a dinosaur.
Yeah, there's a ton of shit I did in 2008, 2008, whatever we're calling it. That I mean, because of the great financial crisis, there were some crazy opportunities, and I haven't seen them since 2009, and I just moved on and found other things to do.
All right, last question. This one's for me. Number one tip that you think, you know, you guys both give challenge webinars, you see the questions, you see what people are making mistakes with, you help mentor, and I appreciate that so much. What's the number one tip that you can give an upcoming student?
I'm going to start in this. I can't give just one. There's a few. I have my rules.
Give me a few. I try to simplify it.
Holding and hoping is not a strategy.
Yes.
If you do not know what to do, get out.
When in doubt, get out.
When in doubt,
There's
get
rhymes
out.
for everything.
Yes, there are. Oh gosh, I forgot the others.
So you have 2 tips. I told you didn't have that many tips. We'll come back to you.
2 main ones stick out for me. If you're new to trading, trade small. Like, I don't want you to be one of the people who emails me saying, I've been trading for 6 weeks and I'm down 40K. Like, what the hell are you doing? Keep your size small until you have any clue of what you're doing. And track every single one of your trades. You have to learn from those. Those are going to teach you so much more than any video lesson will.
And track them separately by strategy. I mean, track dip buys separately from your breakout buys, from your shorts of overextended stocks, from your shorts of toxic financing stocks, because really they are different.
Have multiple strategies.
Don't follow alerts. If you follow anybody's alerts, mine, Tim's, Michael's, we
Follow
will find you, we will
nobody's
slap you. Don't do it.
Thank you guys for joining me, and thank you guys for asking questions. I'll answer more questions. I'll go through your questions when we have better Wi-Fi, but I want to get these 2 superstars on video with the Yacht life. Did you guys like the Yacht?
Yeah, it was good to try once.
My name is Tim Sykes, and I teach people to trade stocks. I am a self-made multimillionaire. So this is the ideal trade that I'm going to talk about. I want you guys to understand every single aspect of this trade.